Kidnapped in the pulpit. The story of Pastor Emmanuel's 34-day ordeal. It was a warm Sunday morning when Pastor Emmanuel Okoye stepped up to the pulpit at Grace Assembly Ministries in southeastern Nigeria. Clad in his familiar sky blue robe, the 52-year-old father of four began his sermon with the same radiant passion that had earned him respect across the region. But as the congregation bowed their heads for prayer, evil crept silently toward the sanctuary. Gunshots shattered the peace. Masked men stormed the church, brandishing AK-47s and shouting in broken English and Hausa. Congregants screamed, ducking behind pews. The attackers moved with practiced swiftness. Within minutes, they had seized Pastor Emmanuel and dragged him away, their truck disappearing into the dense forest that bordered the village. What followed was 34 days of fear, faith, and fragile hope. Ransom and the shock of captivity. Emmanuel awoke in a makeshift hut deep within the jungle. His hands were tied, a cloth gag pressed against his mouth. One guard, barely out of his teens, kept watch with a rifle across his lap. "Pastor," the boy muttered, "no escape." They didn't beat him, at least not initially. But the psychological torment began immediately. "You are worth millions," the gang leader, known only as Bello, told him. "Your God better pay." The kidnappers demanded $50 million, about $35,000 USD. Emmanuel's family, aided by the church and community, scrambled to raise funds. But in a country where minimum wage barely scraped survival, the figure felt insurmountable. Day 6 to 15. Prayers in chains. Each night, Emmanuel whispered psalms to himself, lips moving silently beneath a sky cloaked with stars. "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death," when he recited, voice cracking. His captors listened, puzzled. "You still pray?" one asked, spitting to the side. "Where's your God now?" But Emmanuel's faith didn't falter. It deepened. He began to counsel even his captors gently, as a shepherd would a lost sheep. One, a man called Musa, confessed to him, "I didn't want this life. I was a farmer before my land was taken." Day 1625, the breaking point. The captors grew impatient. The ransom hadn't come. Threats turned brutal. Emmanuel was beaten, deprived of food for days. At one point, he collapsed from dehydration. He thought he might die. In a rare moment of mercy, Musa slipped him water and wrapped his wounds in palm leaves. "I don't know why," Musa said, "but I see my father in you." News of the abduction spread. Churches across Nigeria held vigils. Online campaigns demanded his release. The pressure mounted on both the kidnappers and the government. Day 2633, hope rekindled. A break came when a local human rights group intervened. Using informal channels, they negotiated a reduced ransom. Meanwhile, a miracle began to unfold. Emmanuel's words had softened more hearts. One night, Bello sat beside the pastor and asked, "Why didn't you curse us?" Emmanuel looked at him, battered but unbowed. "Because you too are God's children, you just forgot." By the 33rd day, an anonymous donor, believed to be a businessman whose mother attended Grace Assembly, covered the final ransom amount. The exchange was arranged in secrecy. Day 34. The return at dawn, Emmanuel was blindfolded and led to a clearing. A motorbike arrived. Musa helped him onto it. "Go live, preach," he said simply. When he arrived at the village outskirts, barefoot and trembling, the people erupted in tears and prayers. His wife, Grace, clung to him, sobbing into his chest. His children stared in disbelief. Emmanuel had returned, not just a survivor, but a symbol aftermath. In the months that followed, Emmanuel spoke not of revenge, but of redemption. He resumed preaching, his voice deeper, tempered by experience. "Evil is real," he told his congregation, "but so is grace." He even started a small initiative called Prodigal Sons, aimed at rehabilitating former militants and kidnappers through mentorship, skill training, and spiritual healing. The pulpit where he was taken now holds a simple plaque. He was stolen from here. But God never let go, and neither did Emmanuel. Subscribe for more videos.